Ahoy there, me hearties. This be Captain Silverhook, and you're listening to the Two Old Pirates podcast. Set sail for an open sea of stories, tales, and some really crazy stuff. I expect you to like and subscribe, lest you be walking the plank. Ha ha ha!
All right, welcome to Two Old Pirates. This is episode 39.
39.
And we're sorry it's taking a little bit of time, but life goes on, and we're here. So Vinny's here, DeWolf's here.
Oh yeah, life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone.
All right, so this is episode 39.
39.
And Vinny's going to start off first with a topic that some of you might be really interested in, and some of you might not really understand. So he's going to do a little bit of explaining for the older crowd that might not really be into this, because I don't know much about it. And then for the younger crowd that really pays attention to this, you're probably going to hear some words or titles that you're totally going to understand and you're going to be on board with, and you might have some discussion. So, Vinny, what's the one thing that you'd like to let them know if they do have any input?
If they do have any input?
I mean, if they're watching this and they're like, hey, I got to...
Well, then leave a comment, please. And if you like the subjects, if you don't like the subjects, you can also use the like and the dislike buttons.
We're going to start off episode 39 with Vinny explaining and breaking down anime. Because I don't know nothing about that. I ain't got the brain power for that. So, Vinny, go ahead.
Well, all right. So, anime, or you can pronounce it anime. Same thing with people that say manga, or they say manga. Really, both pronunciations are correct in that regard. It's just a matter of personal preference. One makes you sound whiter than the other, and the other makes you just sound strange if you say it. So basically, it's a umbrella term for any type of animated content that comes from Japan. It has a very distinct style with a very, very large expressive eyes, usually hair colors that are unnatural. You see a lot of greens and
you see
purples.
A lot of spiky hair,
yes,
too, right?
A lot of spiky hair. It's very exaggerated features to a degree, but still within the realm of it doesn't fall into that uncanny valley. There's a sense of otherworldliness, but it's still grounded in reality. And it's a very distinct look. There's multiple different styles, but as a whole, it's just referred to as anime. And I know you guys know that he's the big 5-0. I've kind of kept my age under wraps. He's got a few years on me, but I figure I still appear young enough that I'm hip enough to talk to you guys about anime. Now, I will admit I haven't really kept up with a lot of what's popular today, but I do know a little bit about what's hot right now, and hopefully I can tell you some of the shows that I used to watch when I was younger, and maybe y'all can check those out too. But first and foremost, we got to talk about fans of anime. They have a very unique nickname. They're called weebs, which is short for weeaboo. Weeaboo.
Okay. Now, we were talking about this earlier, and the first time that Vinny said this, I thought he was talking about weeblos.
No.
And if you don't know what a weeblo is, coming from my point of view, has nothing to do with each other. A weeblo, because when he said, what are they called?
Weeaboo.
Weeaboo.
Yeah.
We see, these are terms I don't know. So he said weeaboo, and I was like, oh, weeblos. Huh? And we're carrying on a conversation about these people, and I'm thinking that weeblos are basically coming from the same thing as Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, and there's weeblos.
Weeblos are the rank just before you step from Cub Scouts into Boy Scouts.
So if you think about all the different TV shows that you've ever seen where there's like a miscommunication or something, he's talking about Japanese anime and their fans and Americans that are really enraptured by the Japanese anime. And I'm thinking, when you're a little boy and you're joining
camping, starting fires.
I got my patch for being able to go ahead and put together something or something. And I'm thinking, what do little kids in like the Boy Scouts weeblos have to do with Japanese anime? And then he finally said, why are you saying, did you mean weeblos? And I'm like, yeah. He's all, no, they're
weeaboos.
Weeaboos.
So I will say that term is...
Yeah, people my age, listen, if you're over a certain age, weeaboo is an American person
who's obsessed with Japanese culture, to the point where they would consider themselves part of Japanese culture.
And a weeblo is something that most of us men wore when we were little.
Yes.
Then we became Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts or whatever.
Yes.
So if you're my age, you're catching on as I did too. So. Vinny's doing a very good job of this.
If you made Pinewood Derby cars as a kid, you're a weeblo. If you watched Speed Racer, you're a weeaboo. That's
a good explanation.
That's a good analogy. But there's also a really popular argument that goes on in the anime community called subs v dubs. Subs versus dubs.
This is another thing. I have no idea what subs. A sub would be like a substitute, and a dub would be a win. You know, like I got the dub.
You can just take the L on this one.
So a dub, we took the dub today. So subs versus dubs. This is another thing. People my age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, listen to the man. He's going to explain what a sub versus dub is, because substitute, dubs, wins. No, we'd be wrong.
It comes down to something a lot simpler. Subs versus dubs means subtitles or dubbing when it comes to watching a particular show. If it's subtitled, that means that all of the voice acting is still in Japanese, and there's just subtitles that are added. Now, these could be added by the production company for a DVD release internationally. There's also a thing called fan subs, where fans of the show that speak Japanese will download the rips of the DVDs of the shows, add the titles in manually, and then release that online for people to download and watch. So you have your subtitles with original voice acting, and a dub is essentially like if you were to see a major Japanese movie in theaters, for example, something by Studio Ghibli, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro.
There's one movie I saw, and it's called Ponyo.
Ponyo is one.
And it had Liam Neeson as the main character, and had some of these other top actors and actresses, and I was just like, I watched maybe 15 minutes of it with one of my younger boys, and he didn't really like it, and I was kind of like freaking out, because I was like, is this real? This is like so out of my element.
It's very strange.
So I turned it off. I was not happy with it. Not that it was like scary or anything, it just wasn't my cup of tea. And I don't really like cartoons anyways, but it had like 5 stars, and I was like, man, my kid will like this and stuff. And he was like, Dad, I don't like this.
Yeah, it's
weird.
It's a culture shock.
It's a little bit different.
But essentially, that was a dub.
But that's a dub because Liam Neeson's voice is not the original voice.
No,
but for the American and European market, they do that to try to get us to watch it. Right?
They would have English voice actors or Spanish voice actors, Portuguese voice actors, Indian voice actors. And so basically, whenever a show is released internationally, it's redubbed. So you have your subs and you have your dubs. And really it comes down to the authenticity, the perceived authenticity of the experience. If you're watching it in Japanese with subtitles, a lot of the fans of that type say that's the true way to enjoy it, because you are enjoying it the way it was originally made.
And those are Americans. Those would be weeblos?
Yes, those would be weeblos.
No, what are they called again?
Weeaboos.
Weeaboos. Can a weeblo be a weeaboo?
Probably not. I mean, theoretically, yes, but they wouldn't make a very good Boy Scout. They would probably, they wouldn't make it. They wouldn't make the Eagle Scout cut.
I had to ask just because I'm a butthead.
But people that are fans of dubbed anime, it's not so, like, people argue on both sides, but really what it comes down to is it's the content is out there, it's enjoyable, it's accessible, however you choose to enjoy it, whether you like the Japanese voice acting and reading the subtitles, or if you prefer to be more accessible to an English speaker so that you can hear just the English dub of it so that you can enjoy it. There's really no difference.
Do you happen to know off the top of your head, in the American market, like what is the biggest anime movie, not TV show, but the biggest movie that's ever been out?
I would. It's definitely going to be something by Studio Ghibli. Now they have made a lot of absolutely breathtaking, beautiful movies. I think Spirited Away, I think, is their highest grossing one.
Now I've even heard of that.
Yeah, that's how big that one is.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic movie. It's very touching. I think Studio Ghibli also did My Neighbor Totoro, which is an older one.
I've heard of that.
I remember seeing that one as a kid. That's a
you
very
think they did
interesting.
Ponyo?
I don't know, but I know they've also done Howl's Moving Castle. Howl as in a wolf howl. Howl, That's how it's spelled.
The wolf.
Yeah, like a wolf. And then they also did Princess Mononoke, which those are all. I mean, Studio Ghibli, you really can't go wrong with them.
But you think that Spirited Away is probably the biggest?
Yeah, I would say that's their biggest commercial hit.
While we were talking, I happened to look up on Spirited Away, and that is the biggest anime movie in the history of the United States for our market, and it only made $11 million at the theater. So,
only?
$11 million in the U.S.
In the U.S.
In the U.S.
Wow.
Worldwide, it made about $280 million. So rounding up, it made $280 million. Which where do you think most of that money came from?
Japan.
Japan
Or China, probably.
But if you think about a modern movie in the United States only making $11 million, that shows you there's a fine group of people, a niche.
Very dedicated.
Yeah.
There were enough people willing to give it a shot. In other words. But I think prior to that, anime was something, and manga. The manga is essentially just the comic book form. It's the books that you read.
And that's really exploded.
Yeah, that's just gotten more and more popular. But really, back in the day, you could find it at like your local comic book store if you had one, and it was usually like a very narrow selection, special order. It was a very special interest thing.
In the years that I've taught, I was telling Vinny that it's grown. I've seen even more students even today that are reading it. I have to get to this just because I know about this.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I have had students. I wouldn't say they all respect me. My students love me and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but some of them become upset or emotional, or they draw back when I say these words. Isn't Avatar: The Last Airbender anime? And they look at me with a cold, dead look in their eyes, murderous maybe like I'm going to jump you after school, Mr. DeWolf. I don't know what it is, and I didn't know why, and I finally pulled this one kid to the side. I said, hey, why do these kids get not like frustrated, like mad when I say, isn't Avatar: The Last Airbender? It looks like the same anime stuff, and they're like, you don't understand. So Vinny, for anybody who's listening who doesn't know why Mr. Wolf is getting the death stares, and then I found out why, explain to everybody. And if you already know this, then you know why. But if you don't know this, this is for some people so that they won't be ignorant like I was and get offended, offend young people.
So Avatar: The Last Airbender was a animated series that aired on Nickelodeon in the early 2000s. It's a fantastic show.
Love it.
It's an amazing story.
All my boys, we had to buy all the seasons and stuff. They watched it over and over and over on trips and stuff. They loved it, and I actually got into it. I was like, this is kind of cool to watch.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it had a spin-off series, The Legend of Korra, which I believe is also worth checking out. But it looks like it's in the traditional Japanese anime style. It has the look.
I thought.
Yeah, but it was made by an American art house. It's as American as Robin Hood. It was made in the USA,
and because of that,
it's weird because people that are purists about their anime say, "Oh, that's not anime. It wasn't made in Japan. It was made here in the United States. It's an imitation. It's aped the style, but it's not anime." And then to other people that just think that anime is a look, is a style that anyone can make anime, well, then they would say that's anime. Here's another thing. If somebody says Avatar: The Last Airbender is not anime, ask that person, is Code Lyoko anime? Now, you have no idea what that is. But Code Lyoko is ostensibly an anime, but it was made in France. So, does that not make it anime? It looks the part. And really,
don't hate the play, hate the game.
And I think in my case, if you like, Cowboy Bebop or something like that. Something really popular from Japan. If you like that one, fine. If you like Avatar: The Last Airbender, fine. Those are two fantastic series. One is much longer than the other, but I think they're great. And if it caters to you, if it calls out to you and you like it, by all means, I welcome you with open arms. You can enjoy what you want to enjoy. You can call yourself a weeboo if you want. I don't care.
A weeblo?
A weeblo. You can call yourself a weeblo if you want. It's really about your enjoyment, and anybody trying to gatekeep your enjoyment of a show or anything like that, they're not your friend. They're not anybody that you want to have in your life. They're toxic people. if you like Avatar: The Last Airbender and you consider yourself a fan of anime, by all means, binge watch that, man. Binge watch it.
And I just want to close just to go and give some people a little bit of an idea, because we've talked about a little bit about the history. We've talked about, Weeblues versus Weeaboos or whatever. I'm never going to get that one right. But the one thing is, I wanted Vinny to touch on probably the longest with most episodes. I wouldn't say it's the most famous, because everybody's going to have their own most famous and stuff. But the longest really running with the same character or the same idea anime in Japan, which has, I think, is over 700 episodes for you to watch. What's it called?
Naruto.
Yes, Naruto.
It had not Naruto.
Naruto.
Not one. None of those. It actually Naruto is kind of.
Said it again.
It's you got to pronounce it correctly. It's actually combined. It's had 2 series. So the first one was like 250.
And what was the first one called?
First one was just called Naruto. Naruto.
I'm sorry.
And the second one is Naruto Shippuden. And
don't cuss in front of the kids.
And that one had about 500 episodes. So together, it's about 750.
It's about the same as Seinfeld.
One of the really, Naruto is an anime about nothing, to be honest. I'm going to catch the flack for that.
But what is the basis of Naruto?
So Naruto is the name of the show, and it's the main character.
But what is his deal? I mean, what's it revolve around?
He's a ninja in training, and it's basically his misadventures of learning all the different jutsus and how it's just goes on.
What is the second one dealing with him also?
Yes, it's essentially a continuation.
Is he still training in the second one?
I believe so.
So I'm just going to put this out here as an American. This guy sucks as a ninja. Well, he can't get it. He can't get his crap together. He's all 700 episodes.
He's wearing
I'm
orange.
getting there. I'm getting there.
He's a ninja who wears orange. So unless he's trying to hide at a construction site, he's not going to blend in anywhere.
Look at the tall traffic cone with
there is
size.
But some of there's another series out there that I would say is the longest running anime series, and it's probably one that you've heard of. You might be familiar with it. It's Astro Boy. I don't know if
I've heard of that.
Yeah,
didn't they make a movie about that too?
They did very recently. I think it was with Nick Cage. I think
it's called Astro Boy. And that
Astro Boy.
Now, is that from Japan?
Yes.
Now, why would they take such an American-sounding English name and call it Astro Boy if it was for the Japanese market?
Well, Astro Boy is... I don't know what its literal Japanese translation is. Astro Boy really is a markedly Japanese name. Same with Speed Racer.
And you said Astro Boy's been on for a while now?
Oh, it's been out for decades. I want to say
really?
I want to say it dates back to the 50s.
No.
I know Astro Boy has been around for a very long time.
I hope that you guys enjoyed this interesting talk about anime with Weeblos and Naruto and
Spirited Away,
Avatar: The Last Airbender being better than anything from Japan, and
he said that one, not me.
But anyways, I hope that you, if you have any questions or if you have any comments, I know some of you guys are going to have comments about this. The best anime show ever is so and so. Let us know. Let us hear. We're not going to be offended or anything like that, because this is what makes us tick. We want to go ahead and see what you enjoy. So if we want something that you guys will enjoy. So when we talked about this today, I said, there's a lot of young people that really like anime, and Vinny knows something about it. So this is something he can knock out of the ballpark. I knew that. So I hope that you enjoyed that first part. The second part will be going back to another true story.
True story.
Eric's 100% true stories. So let's see. How do we begin this? All right. Way back in the time of the 1990s.
Whoa.
Yes, way back then.
Radical.
This is before like Nirvana and stuff. I had been in a very long-term relationship with someone, and it did not end well. And I was kind of brokenhearted. And to make a long story short, I really couldn't get over it for a while. And there had been a girl that in high school had a crush on me, and I always knew it. And it was one of those things where I never let her on or like, hey, let's go date or something like that. I was always just a friend, but I knew she had a crush on me. And after this relationship ended, I didn't know who to turn to. And so I knew she was in college up in Rhode Island, and so I went ahead and called her. And the end of the relationship happened in December. So I talked to her on the phone, and I was trying to let her know that this had happened, and that how broke up I was and I couldn't live and all this other stuff. And she said, well, I'll be, my semester's almost over and I'll be down, back to Rockport, and we'll hook up and we can talk, and I'll try to help you and stuff. I said, thanks. So we talked, repeatedly over the next week or two, as just she called to check in and stuff.
This was your friend, not the one you were dating, not your ex. This was your friend.
Just a girl that I knew had a crush on me, but she'd always just been a friend.
Okay.
And then she came down just before Christmas because her semester ended up in Rhode Island, and we hung out. We went to the movies and just, I guess you could say we kind of dated a little bit, kind of a rebound to try to get my mind off the other girl, which is not nice, but
those are always messy.
Yeah, I was like 20, 21. I wasn't really thinking, and I was also kind of angry. I was angry because of the way I had, been hurt, and so this went on for a little while. And in March, I was still, going out with other girls, and go, spring break came up, and so some of my friends, my parents had gone out of town, and some of them were like, "Hey, can we crash over at your house?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so. That's fine." So we started going over to Port A every single night. And, we'd stop at the Whataburger over there, take the ferry. Anybody who's watching this who knows anything, same old stuff. We'd see the craziest stuff on the ferries, and we'd see the drunk people and stuff. But we always, came in around 1 or 2 in the morning. Well, during this time period, I wasn't talking to this girl as much because, A, I was talking to other girls, and I was going to Port A, and I was a single guy. And, the talking from every day on the phone, remember there's no cell phones back then for you youngsters, so talking every single day on the phone had gone down to maybe once a week. And she would leave messages every day, but I wasn't calling her back because I had never really been that interested in her. So anyways, we come back one night and we're pulling into the yard, and we get inside the house. It's probably about 2:30 in the morning, and we go in the back part of my parents' house where we have the video game system set up, and we're drinking some Cokes, and we're just talking, just a bunch of young guys and stuff, and about the chicks we saw and bikinis and all this, just being stupid. And I hear a knock on the door, and they're like, "Dude, who could that be?" And I looked at the clock, and it's like 3:30 a.m. I was like, "Dude, who's?" And I was like, maybe there's a fire outside, maybe somebody broke down. So I go and I open up the door. And it's this girl, and she's standing on the front porch, staring at me. And I remember it was kind of windy and rainy out. She was wearing a raincoat.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Just unannounced.
Yeah, and she's just staring at me. She said, "Where have you been?" And I'm like, I'm going to tell you the truth. I had some adult beverages. I was 21. And I was illegal, and it was spring break, and I was still upset about the breakup. So I was just like, I was not being the normal Eric. Let's put it that way. I don't ever drink or anything like that, but I had partaken of some stuff, and I was over at Port A. Everybody goes over to Port A and stuff, and she was just like, she went into this whole thing about you're not talking to me enough. I took off this whole semester because I forgot to tell you that she never went back to Rhode Island. She was there now for me, and she was going to transfer to A&M Corpus Christi because she figured this is when I get my chance with him. He's brokenhearted. He's sad. He's talking about, he's not happy and stuff. So she literally left this major university up in Rhode Island to stay in Rockport to go to school in Corpus. So now she could finally have me. I didn't know that she was thinking these things. And so, she was getting more and more angry with me, and I'm thinking the neighbors are going to hear and stuff. And, the alcohol was talking a little bit that night, and I just looked at her with a grin and said, "What did you do, kill me?" And she just, like a sheet of ice, just stared me straight in the eye and said, "Maybe I will." Usually that wouldn't scare me, but I'm 50 now, and it still gives me a little bit of the chills, the way she looked into my eyes and said, "Maybe I will."
I wasn't even there, and I'm freaked out.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those moments that you don't forget. And when she looked at me and she said, "Maybe I will," I said, "You're joking." And she just looked at me, just straight in the eyes, and she's all like, as though to say, "I might kill you. I'm that angry with you that you're not talking to me anymore." So I said, "You just need to leave. You need to get out of here," and stuff. I slammed the door and I locked it, of course. And I went in the back, and the guys were like playing whatever Madden or NBA or something. And they're like, what happened? And I said, dude, pause it. And I told them, I said, I'm kind of shook up about this. And they're like, dude, she's just talking smack. She's just talking smack. And I was like, yeah, she's probably just pissed off because she dropped out of college up there and she's coming down here. And but it still kept on ringing in me. Like when I said, what are you going to do, kill me? She literally looked at me and said, maybe I will. For her to just say it so easily. So I went back out to the refrigerator to get a Coke or a Dr. Pepper or whatever. And it just like, how did she know that I was home? And it hit it. No. Yeah. So I go over and I look out the window. I pull down the shades and I look. And her car's across the street parked. And I'm like, no way. No way. So I go in the back and I tell the other two dudes, hey, that chick, she's still sitting there. And they're like, no way, no. So my parents had this sliding glass door in the back part of the house. And we went out there, we hopped the fence, and it's pitch dark out. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. We go around the bushes and we look, and she's sitting in her car, watching my parents' house to make sure that I didn't leave again.
At 4 in the morning?
4 o'clock in the morning. So those guys got kind of scared, and they're like, can you take us home? I said, I'm not getting in the car and driving anywhere because I don't know what this chick's willing to do. So we all went back inside and just crashed out. I got up, late that morning, probably about 11-ish. Walked out there, looked, the car wasn't there. Felt much better. Took them back to their houses and slept most of the day and stuff, just being tired, got something to eat and stuff. Met back up probably around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Went back over to Port A all day, just having fun, seeing everything that you can see. And probably about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, we got back on the ferry, came back home, never even thinking of what happened the night before. We were just having a blast and stuff. And as we started to pull down the road, someone told me, why don't you look over where she had parked the night before? And as I'm pulling down the road about 20 miles an hour and stuff, I look across and she's parked there again. Yeah, she was parked there again. And she didn't get out this time, but she had the window down and she was just staring at us. And I just pulled into the driveway.
Did you call the cops or something?
No, I mean, like, what am I supposed to tell them? A girl's looking at me.
Someone's literally stalking you. That's what you tell them. What the hell?
So yeah, that went on. Spring break is a good 9 days. You get the weekend, then 5 days, and the next weekend and stuff. And I had college classes the Monday after that, and this was probably like on a Wednesday or Thursday. And she did this for 3 consecutive nights, where I would come home and she would be parked watching my house. And remember, my parents are still out of town, so it's just me. And some nights it'd just be me coming home because I dropped the guys off or whatever I was doing, and I'd have to go get out of my car alone, walk up those steps. And it sounds kind of silly, but there was a little bit of a fear. Like, do I need to watch the doors? Do I need to watch the windows?
Yeah,
is she gonna try to
sleep with the baseball bat?
Yeah, is she gonna try to jimmy a window and get in or something? So yeah, it was different. So after the third night, she wasn't there anymore, and I finally answered one of her phone calls and said, "Look, we're not together, and even though that we might have had a thing here or there after you got back and stuff, we're not a couple." She was very, very upset, and she's all like, I left a major university to come down here to be with you. And I said, I never asked you to do any of those things. I just told you that I needed somebody to talk to. And I can honestly say that all these years later, about 30 years later, 29 years later, I have not spoken to her once. She's tried to friend me several times on Facebook, and I deleted. Yeah, she's tried to find me on Facebook and try to friend me, like as though to say, hey, none of that crazy stuff happened. But yeah, I felt bad for a little bit because I did lead her on a little bit by telling her how bad I felt and stuff. But that was all over the phone. It wasn't like eye to eye or hugging or anything like that. It was over a phone between Rhode Island and Texas.
Yeah, you opened up to her as a friend.
Yeah, and yeah, it's one of the scariest moments of my life when you have somebody look at you and basically say, yeah, I might kill you. And although somebody might hear this and say, yeah, but she never would. I don't know, dude. I know she was psycho. No. I know she was psycho enough to sit outside my house for 3 solid nights watching the house like a private detective instead of being off with friends or doing her own thing because she felt that the one time that she had with me to be her guy was slipping away as I was having fun as a 21-year-old or whatever.
Mind you, there was nothing to do back then. Like no phones, no mobile phone, not even the Game Boy. There was a Game Boy, but you couldn't play it in the dark. No. So,
but there was no cell phones. There was no, I mean, the movies closed in Rockport early.
She was just sitting there. Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's one of those moments that I don't really ever think about. It's been so long ago and stuff. I was young, but the idea of that night when I said, "What are you going to kill me?" I just said a really sarcastic, smart-ass way, and when she just looked at me dead in the eyes, so maybe I would. It came from a place that it still is freaky today. I mean, it's been a long time. We're talking about 30 years that I've not seen this person or talked to this person, but it was freaky enough that I still remember that. I never talk about it. I don't think I've ever told my wife or my boys, and I never even told Vinny about it. I mean, most people don't know about it besides the people that were there that night, because it's one of those things. It's not a huge story, but it is a true story, and it's the idea that somebody, and maybe if she was pushed enough, might have done something.
You never know. The fact that she sat outside the house.
I mean, I
think that justifies the fear.
I think that if it would have just been one and done, and she would have just drove away, this never probably would have ever resonated in my mind. But those 3 nights of her staying parked outside my house watching it is something that has led me to believe that maybe she could have done something. It was a little bit of a scary time there, where you had a female that was obsessed. She was just obsessed, and she finally thought that she had her chance, and it wasn't ever going to happen. So she couldn't face that. So I'm just glad I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm glad she didn't kill me that night.
Yeah.
And after that, I stopped going to most spring breaks at night and just was a regular dude. I got back to just being Eric and not partying or anything like that.
That'll set someone's a good stalking will set anybody straight.
That's the way life is. If you're listening to this on any of the audio platforms like on Google or iHeartRadio or Spotify or Anchor FM, we really enjoy doing these short podcasts, and we hope that you enjoy them. Please follow and like us on any of those platforms also. So we have the YouTube, and then we have any audio platform that you guys would ever want. And we'll try to get these happening more often, maybe once every couple weeks, maybe once every week if we get lucky. But, time is happening. But summer's coming up, and I'll have more freedom, so maybe I can go down to Vinny's, and we can go and do it at his place. He's got a lot of cool things here that he could show off and not have to drag them all the way up to Corpus and stuff. But I really appreciate everything that you guys have done for us. I love you guys all, even if you have never met me. We have so many countries that we have followers in. I just want to go ahead and read this off real quick. Not trying to brag, but I am kind of bragging.
Not trying to brag, but
I told Vinny today, I said, I could not believe this. I want to go ahead and let you know on our analytics, these are the countries that we have followers in. If we've ever said this before, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I am, because I think it's just amazing that these people are following us. I think we're just 2 regular guys.
Yeah. Just 2 dudes.
Extremely intelligent human being right here. I mean, he's like one of the smartest people that I know. Not just because, I'm related to him or anything like that. I mean, he's genuinely, and he's a decent human being. So when you get those 2 mixes, you get a great person here. I try to be the best person I can be, and I've been a teacher for a long time, so I try to pass on wisdom and stuff to my kids. But to know that people in other countries are listening to us, just random guys, it's pretty amazing. So I'm just going to read them off real quick.
Special shout outs to you guys out here.
So besides the United States, we have the United Kingdom, Ireland, Germany, Canada, Bangladesh, Nigeria, France, India, Indonesia, New Zealand, Belgium, and Iceland. So those are the ones that we have for sure that are listening to our podcast every single week. That's freaking amazing. You know what I did? Neither one of us came with Idiot Part 3.
Yeah, that was supposed to be you, because I did it last time.
Oh man,
I did the flat Earth guy. He dropped the ball, or the flat. He dropped the flat.
I could come up with a bunch of idiots. I will come up with an idiot part 3 for our next podcast, but I'll just leave that I hate Gwen Stefani and Grey's Anatomy. 3. So whether you're a weeblo or a
weeboo,
we hope that you enjoy this podcast, and the 2 pirates love and appreciate each and every moment that you give us. And we hope to be seeing you real soon.
Yep. Catch you in number 40.
Peace out.
Peace.